Abusia formamenti ya na memo akwaba famra kasa fidi so ha nimde news nsem we koso man Ghana mu de dika de hwe na yaje bread nchiremu no de bremo Ernest Usubempa adodo na efa na Aboapapo one of the communication team members of the New Patriotic Party, to be specific, or the deputy communications officer for the New Patriotic Party. We on live radio and Odin Sembi they are talking of messenger Baumia Ebaya all training, vision, plans, everything to Ghanaians. And I'm so my NDC for trouble. Just say enya asem ketwana no Aboapapo enso buson for kire say Debbie nyoma NDC for ye no enya de say sene fata emfa kwam, because message about me ade ba na messenger say Ghana for ye toba ne de amane say otimi aba implement ni measures ni de no okeka ne de aya de say betimi aboapa na buson for na enya asem ketwa just say wa tackle NDC for no ba yenko ne nkoti ensem o de to dwane bi emra
NPP ne de bae na leader a transfer who say baby the direction at which the purpose of the levy no de bae no soon so no bia nyoma bi ho as a leader no o your junior kind say bit much changing a character traits of a leader, great leader bia no take the necessary risk in outlining their vision. What you say anything no leader John Mahama no ono ne division no de bebe bia no enkoyi o hwe ono ankasa as a person any nyoma waye under his tenure actually clearly say he doesn't know how to manage the affairs of the country. And when you look at the character of great leaders, visionary leaders, one of the attributes is that they are risk takers. What do you say? So obejinasi no akase said you about abolish e-levy. Ghanaians should even know the direction of a new leader and where he's going. Okay, before say you share the way I will see by any or by as a vice president. Ninyoma waye and no would they compare the former president Nyoma waye and the leadership near the idea. President Mills who ye John Dramani Mahama be taking over as a vice president. Then some of the two and then this was he's trying to run away from President Akufo-Addo's John Mahama clearly made it clear. Atanos we or there you pass why you know crown from no. This was his statement here. And I can read a portion to you. Here. Or make his statement
on the floor of parliament.
Not the floor of parliament, okay. The one that he was addressing his own party people about or no vision, any ideas, any deba. Okay, said he's lucky to serve as a vice president under Mills. But as a leader, he has outlined his vision of making Ghana a better place.
Okay.
This is John Mahama. Kofi Adams was there. He was one of the key year no tournament. Said Mibusa said na no cano na or diverted Kofi Mibusa na or diverted say or running away from Atamils. A dead man who ba bedi na dia no. Now who take you or say one would have thought say he would say he will continue with the or say he will move and take a new path. New path no dey call dum so no remember so. New path no ena o mine economy erani ya mo we nam no man ka dum pe no. That's the new path that we are talking about. So Baumia as a leader was served as a vice president under the former under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now there's a new chapter. Akufo-Addo's vision or the man who as a vice president, the key role I would play. Vice President Ben since the Fourth Republic, and why is so functional and very effective than the Vice President Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia. We can compare John Mahama as a vice president when it comes to corruption. We can compare a sitting president, setting up an investigative body to investigate John Dramani Mahama at Tamils on issues to do with an aeroplane. Yes, one got at Tamils setting up an investigative committee. Papa Bakwano, a former army officer or Tuan. These are facts. Can you say that about Dr. Bawumia as a vice president? A sitting president will set up an investigative body against him now. Bibi science here. And you compare as we go along. No, I mean, but Omia make serious statements about his achievement. Woka Mosi Kofi Adam tie kan economy wasem. Now can economy now can the performance of the CDA. No are the economic indicators. Here, Baumia made it clear, and I would like to read the exchange rate. We challenge the NDC on that. Meaning, and they say, one of the performance of the CD exchange rate. It is interesting to note that between 2013 and 2016, the CD, that is almost time, Kofi Adams more time, the CD depreciated by an average of 17.7%. Okay. Between 2017 to 2020, there was significant decline in the CD depreciation to an average of 7.5%. The average depreciation further declined to 6.8% between 2017 and 2021. However, following 30% depreciation of the CD in 2022, that is the highest. And amount for CD no at here Ghana the average CD depreciation between 2017 and 2022 is 10%. So again, notwithstanding the global crisis and all the economic you perform better in terms of managing the CD than the NDC. And I think Kofi Adams to come. These are the figures. Baumia is not a better manager of the economy. John Mahama managed a depreciation of 17%, unprecedented in the Fourth Republic, the history of the Fourth Republic. And the figures, the figures don't lie. It's here.
But also, he has invited. Jadinia or Dinija or Cranium money free. That may be ya Cranium money free. I'm on a deba. You know, Nimi say under John Mahama. No, the 4 Ghana cities and a copedo.
Can do 4 Ghana.
Under Nanado Danko Kufuado. And he needs about 12 Ghana
then let's
cities.
go back to.
And now,
let's go back to Kufuor's era.
Yes, certainly.
Let's go to Kufuor's era. Yes. And let's see who has messed the city.
Yes,
no. If you want to go there, Kufuor's time, the city was 1 against the dollar. Yeah. When NDC took over power, how was the city? It shot up to 5 point something percent.
So I don't to me also me say Ghana ni no to abadema President Kufuor based on the promise Jomama Mercy our exchange rate no was expecting say obekwa koto dollar from 4 Ghana cedis to 12 Ghana cedis.
Yes, and there are indicators unprecedented in the history of Ghana. Global market, world crude oil shot up to 100%. Unprecedented. Let me quote a year about one of the World Bank leaders or say, this crisis, a pandemic, global pandemic, this crisis is like no other pandemic in the history of the world. It doesn't know borders and it has no respecter of the person, of any phenomenon. But it is more likely to be likened to the Great Depression of 1935.
Okay.
The dollar and the CD after global pandemic, air corner. And yet being the circumstance within which we find ourselves in. As here, the World Container Company, the container, if we are seeing the transport to Nyoma, it shot up to 150%.
Okay.
Within a year, container company, the container, a transport to Nyoma. We are seeing a brand new woman, Emre Papa. Even John Mahama, the time that he was a leader, and Ghana economy, running nosedive, the State of the Nation's address. He told the nation, said China, economic situation, of course, for China, and I'm about Ghana. And it was a State of the Nation's address. So is it justified that today he himself went and stood somewhere in the United States and made a statement as a global pandemic has a repercussion in the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian? And then he is the same person empowering Kofi Adams to veteran say Ghana for tum say sebi nyado the ekoso NPP Baumia and Aba. And even at all, looking at the economic management, despite the crisis, despite the pandemic, despite everything, who are the better managers of the Ghanaian economy. We check all the indicators. They were running an economy of 3.5 to GDP. The time they left office. Today, as I'm talking to you, economy no saying echo to GDP ratio when you compare. Etiminia and yoma ye kika a Kofi Adam se kan wansem yamra dum so wansem a ode betu dwa o kan wansem o krade let's say reactive to certain points of make very important because there's a na ewia ne ababe torgeti Baumia's vision and in your modi to dwa they compare John Mahama dum so it will be a lie for anybody to tell me, sit here and tell me, say, NDC for the soul who do so. And I'll give you 3 examples. Listen, my brother, it's not just a these are facts. Go and check. Aboapapo gas processing plant. NPP Adnan by who say, as a visionary leader under the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, who say, gas produced to power generation was as low as 98 million cubic feet. And I'm giving you an example. We increased the capacity from 98 million cubic feet to 120 million cubic feet only at Aboapapo. When we, yes, you say, sir, a gas flow nearby, they've already signed a contract of Sankofa gas contract. The most expensive gas contract in the world was signed by the NDC under John Mahama ENI Sankofa contract. $10 per MMBTU. Whether we like it or not, as a nation, we have to pay. Akufo-Addo ne ba gas supply. Akufo-Addo ne ba we have to combine Sankofa time and the Jubilee together. And what we call Sanzule tying all the gas pipeline together to shift power, to shift gas to the main Aboazi power generation for power generation. Let me tell you, give me a simple just 2 minutes. We increase capacity. We increase capacity from a combination of all the three to 350 million cubic feet of gas supplied to Aboazi. And then Takrady regulatory and metering station. Capacity and FA. Capacity and FA 109 million scarves.
Or say almost surveyed do
say gas to power generation and make sure you increasing capacity in Takrady regulatory and metering station. You increasing capacity from 109 under NDC to 405 million scarves.
Mobile power 2017 not doom so.
City now they make sure gas to power generation. So listen very well. From there,
also
Aboazi
mobile power in 2017 not doom so.
Not doom so. Not doom so ever.
In 2017,
yes, of course.
Now you war the ECG timetable. Yeah, they run into so Ghana.
Didn't you? And I make sure now because I say my mechanical so make sure technical processes. They go up doom so and they Ghana, and that's 350 million scarves. You increasing that capacity, we were buying like crude $100 million additional to make sure say power your thermal energy, your thermal plant, and then you free the gas supply and the Maya increasing capacity. Let me tell you, car power we push gas into car power and we are getting 350 megawatts. West African gas pipeline was supplying gas to an eastern enclave, and you're pushing your pipeline from here to eastern enclave, and almost about 120 million cubic feet of gas. I know almost about 600 megawatts of electricity. And the combination of car power, transporting power to the eastern enclave to supply Asogli and the rest. A combination of other sources of intervention side. And the solve do so. Those times you hear a Aboapapo processing plant shut off. When you shut it off, you see that.
Yes. And I'm saying near you see the timetable where they run doom so buy.
You buy capacity the abe kan ho ama dum so kania dum no eno na me boss wa kire wo no say a timely intervention of increasing gas supply gas supply for power generation. What you say? And know you're one of the major interventions. Makacho Sanzule tying reverse flow from here to Atwabo, from West Africa, from Western region to the Eastern enclaves. I had do ben for my supply guy. Say West African gas pipeline shut there's gas flow for power generation and no can be and I'm do so consistent maintenance. It can be. And design your maya make a key. NDC are buying almost to me anye. Almost contract, one of the major contracts, I did Kotobe Kumba contract. Derek Kofi Adam say, ENI gas contract, the most expensive gas contract in the world was signed by under NDC. Etibaomiaka said, when we push an agenda of going into a new dimension in the energy sector, making sure say solar become one of the major interventions in making sure to improve the energy sector. Okay. And one of the key. And you know, when it comes to box to box, facts to facts, me better the facts not all. Let Kofi Adams come and tell me say, Asema me any other alternative for EB or me Ediaba. And you may catch on say key interventions help in solving do so. Oba Ghana card asema o kan ho asema.
No. I don't want this to shift to this. But let's deal with intra this thing because Nyama Bidrea must be dealt with because minimum
Ghana card the old Ghana be in 2009. Ye kosan lie o krufru minu anu mo krufru mo tie me kosan lie say ye ma o cheti bi say Ghana card o koye ye be ma Ghana card under mills o be kaya na o kumase a ye ko di lie me ne me maame ko di lie say ye kwa register Ghana card under the leadership of the NDC obi hu Ghana ni bi betima kire me say ye process Ghana card for obi a e dey bia na bia pilot they always they do piloting no ma ko for a few people
okay
meba
on my side
meba
me receiving a Ghana card, I think somewhere in 2012. And fortunately for me call me new one with the number na me won for me old one I think me either 2010 or 2012 no. And the same number and the man for new one year me call ekoko ye. And for that one I know say under President Mills no. Yeah, issue Ghana card. That time
never me personally. Okay. I'm using my personal experience.
Okay.
And we're talking about the entire nation.
Okay.
A bold decision. So we quite was okay. Say issue be how come millions of Ghanaians today can boast of. We're talking about NDC and NPP. Yeah, leadership vision.